Hello again, traders. Right, loads and loads going on. Personal problems in my life, nothing hopefully too extreme, but it's dragging me away from charts. But the plus side of being away from the charts is it gives me time to, sitting in a car or driving or doing whatever. It gives me time to think and for stuff to sink in. And apologies for what looks like a bit of a mess on this chart, but as you know, if you've watched a few of my very recent videos, I'm heavily into excuse me, onesies EA, and I've got lots and lots of testing going on. So you've got RSI histo, vol bomb, the pink arrow, behind it the little red arrow, which is the RSI histo alert, both updates of onesies EA by Dinesh. So thanks Onesie and thanks Dinesh. So we've got Aaron's 3CR indicator here. We've also got the Sonic R Dragon from Forex Factory here, the 89 and the 34 high, low and close band, as it were. And eventually I will be getting rid of some of this stuff because it's unnecessary, but to be honest with you, I'm blind to it anyway. I the 3CRs, I know they're there. RSI histo, I know what's going on, and vol bombs as well. So just search my YouTube channel for all of the different sort of parameters and reasons why I use them and why they all fit so well together, which gives me the confidence of using onesies EA. Virtually I could trade from a phone now, which I've never ever done, even to the point now, and this is another sort of ideas video, but I will get to more of the points of what I'm seeing in a moment, but even to the point now of getting a dedicated VPS and a dedicated mobile phone number so that it doesn't interfere with my personal phones for the alerts and for possibly even trading off the phone. It is that good, and I'll explain why now. It is important also to remember some of the data is missing. So, when I talk about data, I talk about some of the entries, because this isn't a VPS, so it is not going 24/7. So when the phone's off or when I'm away from the charts, the internet connection doesn't work, so obviously there's trades not being sent to my charts. But it's not ideal, but that's the way it is, which is why I want to get a dedicated phone and a dedicated VPS server to run this stuff. So if you haven't already taken the time to set yourself up with MT4, if you're a TradingView or Thinkorswim user or whatnot, I recommend. I know how to use TradingView. I taught myself that quite early on in this new sort of internet journey on social media and whatnot as a result of COVID, and I love it, but it doesn't do what I require that MT4 does. And some people ask for MT5 versions of all of this. MT5 doesn't do what MT4 does, so I dropped that as well. I learnt it and dropped it. It's nowhere near as good as MT4 in terms of what can be done and the indicators you can find and so on and so forth. So now we're looking at the actual way this thing trades, and I want to point out a few obvious things. We went over some of these trades are from Friday on here, probably around the 4th, I think. So, and they will show you what was going on Friday. Here we go. At this point here, I was saying this is a point of interest and drew a manual. That pink support line is a manual line, and I said if it breaks that, it'll go down, and that's what happened. And then once again it tested. If it breaks that, it'll go down, and it's exactly what happened. Now these moves are massive. As a scalper, this is probably 3,000 or 4,000 points, 300 or 400 pips or more, and that move there as a scalper is worth 5 or 6 pips, which is what I used to say was all you need in a day. And another point I wanted to make, haven't had time to do much tweeting, for reasons I've explained on the Twitter feed, is that I am a great believer, as a result of Billy TT on Forex Factory, that, you know, a London trade of 5 or 6 pips, like this tiny little blip trade here, would be enough. That's a day's work. Now, all the time I see people posting charts of gold and what gold might do, and oil and what oil might do, and those are heavily related to fundamental decisions. And very early on in my sort of trading career, a couple of decades ago now, I realised that that wasn't for me. And all I want to do is find a pattern. So I know I use my dashboards, and it's sort of a contradiction, but the dashboards are all about the patterns. Couldn't care less. They're 15 pairs chosen because they create patterns, and the way they move, the spreads and so on and so forth, the ADRs, average daily range, enable me to take 5 or 6 pips, and that's great. Some are there just for correlation, like Aussie dollar and gold, for example, or euro, US dollar and Swissy, the US dollar, Swiss franc, the dollar index, DXY. You've got cable on there, which always moves relatively the same to euro and DXY, and consequently Swissy. So they all tie in, but for no other reason than the patterns must agree. I trade one pattern, and that's very important. The point I'm making is that, you know, I don't care what gold might be doing, and having seen a trader marry his notion of euro going up because of some sort of European meeting about way back about pigs, which was the Portugal, Italy, I forget what the others, Spain, were all tanking because of European problems and Brexit, pre-Brexit, and he was convinced the euro, once they got those conversations over, those meetings, it would go skyrocket. Well, it didn't, and he kept adding to his position, and he lost a fortune. And that's the problem. I don't want to be involved in thinking about what the charts are doing, like possibly the current problems, which are Putin putting forces on Ukraine border, and thinking, oh yeah, Putin's going to go to war, oil will go to the moon, or Putin's going to talk with someone and so on. I don't know, the French president, I think his name's Macron, chatting to that idiot, and oil will go this way, oil will go that way, and I don't want to be involved in that. I'm not interested. One pattern, trade everything, and that is my mantra. So when we're looking at US 30, the only reason I'm trading this is because of the way it moves, and because of the way, consequently or inadvertently, Onesies EA trades it. If this was GJ, I would love it. If I could get the same the EA to work the same way on cable or euro, you'd be looking at that chart. So it's all about the pattern. So I approach every trade the same way. The stops, the targets. It's all about support and resistance, supply and demand, and the 3CR pattern with momentum. And it doesn't matter what I'm trading, that's all it is. So all I have to concentrate on one thing, or a number of things related to one method of trading, and that works for me. I can't swing trade to save my life. I cannot fundamental trade to save my life, and this is the important thing. This fundy guy that lost millions. Well, it wasn't millions, it was hundreds and hundreds of thousands, nearly $1 million, I think. He was trading for years, but he still got caught up with this marrying the trade notion. So I don't want to be in that position where I've built up a huge account, a huge following or whatever. I'm investing my mum and dad's money and my sister and brother's money and God knows what else, and then blow it all up because I've relied on this this one stupid notion that fundamentals can drag you into. So with the chart pattern, I know where my stop should be, I know where my take profit should be, absolutely every entry. There is no thought processes other than that. You don't move your stops, you don't, well, you can move your take profits obviously, but that's another job altogether. So, sorry for the preach, but that's very, very important. This is why I trade one chart pattern and, concentrate on everything that will make it better. And as far as I'm concerned, the MT4 platform, which is free as you know, and the EAs, currently free as you know, and or you should know, and you'll have to, don't ask me to point you to stuff, you do your homework and find the stuff yourself. It's on Onesy's Twitter feed, Dinesh's Twitter feed, and various links from my Twitter feed, which is Best Forex Method, and you will find both of those via that if you need to. So back to this thing. Now what was fantastic about this is that you get, I mentioned on Twitter today that it's almost like a dance, almost like a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and when you've got these things, the orders, it's not an alert from the indicators, it's just literally MT4 sending me an indication or an alert every time it takes an order. So it's going mad for 5 or 6 times there, it's going mad for 100 times there, it's going mad for 100 times there, it has a little rest, it goes mad. So you can get, it's almost like music, and it's hard to describe, but when you get that blip and you've set up your charts and you're ready for it and you've got the dragon on your charts and you've planned your trade and it goes, you can either decide to hit it because you've ticked every box and everything looks right, the RSI histo, the TMA slope, you might have had divergence here, so you're ready for shorts below the 89 and below the dragon, and then it pulls back. You know what's going on, even because you've trained yourself. And I mentioned this to Gabby yesterday in direct message. Train yourself to teach it like treat it like a computer game. So after you get that blip, you could have 15 minutes, an hour or two of restful chilling out times and go for a walk or whatever. Come back, and then if it does break that area of importance, then you are going to get, because it's accumulated short orders, discount, the higher it goes, the cheaper or the more profit they will make when it goes down. And this, I believe, is the algos hunting liquidity and faking in the long trades to take the shorts. So I'm expecting this quiet period in this musical instrument we've got, and then I'm expecting it to go absolutely bonkers, and then I'm expecting a little quiet period here again, and I'm expecting it to go bonkers, bearing in mind this move here is probably 5 times what I want to earn in a day, and then it has a quiet time in this beautiful musical instrument of ours, then it goes bonkers again, quiet time here, bonkers again. So that's the eureka moment I've got from this phone alert. I could have one little alert there and one little alert there, and this going off here and this going off here, but it isn't creating the song, it isn't creating the music, and this is music to my ears. I mean, laughably, I was in the I'd forgotten I've got it set up on a VPS, and I've got it set up on my phone, and I was in the supermarket last night and it went bonkers. And we can't see it on this chart because obviously it wasn't connected to this chart, but it was a long run like this, and I had to switch my phone off in the end because it was embarrassing. But that's a side note. So we have now a roadmap. When this is created, we've got a roadmap, because when this is an area of interest, it had a blip, and then look what's happened when it's come and broken the 34 EMA, which would be the 89 EMA or thereabouts on the lower time frame, on the 1 minute. This is a 5 minute. And also notice we've got a line chart high here, and the price has broken it, and look what happens, up it goes. So you've got so many different reasons. Oh, and the RSI histo is agreed, Oh, that's a manual arrow, I do apologise. And the RSI histo is agreed there with the blue arrow. You can just faintly see it there, and you can see it there anyway. So, and once price is broken, we've come down, we've made a trend, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. There's a few 3CRs in there. And then look what happened once again. This area of interest, or even this line chart low here, has been broken and price has gone bonkers. So you're going to get these quiet periods, and then you're going to get the bonkers periods. And it just keeps doing that. There's, you know, this here, this touch, look what happens when it breaks it. The phone will go bonkers. And it just keeps doing that. There, high, low, lower, high. There's a support, a resistance area there, created a new low, broken that low there, and look what happens when price comes up. It goes bonkers. And this is a huge period of rest, if you like. You know, I know this is going to happen. This thing is so powerful. When it does happen, look, you know, it happens. This is a 5-minute chart, so what's this? Probably, you know, 2 hours worth of waiting around. This is probably 3 or 4 hours worth of waiting around, and then we know the phone will go bonkers. And when it does, the moment it starts, it's there, and that's when I can assess all of this and see whether I can get a trade. And if we come back to, well, we'll just go through this bit by bit. Bonkers moment, area of interest, trend down, high, low, lower, high, lower, low, pull back, broke through the, well, we know this is an area of interest here. This has created this whole run up, support. Clearly what happens, it goes absolutely bananas. This is great. This has even done a bust, pullback, break and close. That's the TMA slope, and the proper original bust, pullback, bust down, pullback, break and close, and perfect entry once again. Area of interest here that's created this new low, and then boom, look what happens. Gone like an absolute steam train. These moves are monster. This is probably 2,000 points or 200 pips, 2,000 points, 200 pips, 150, whatever, 150 pips to 1,500 points. All I want is a couple of 100 points, 20 pips or whatnot, which is nothing on this beast, and that's a good day's work done. So the other point I wanted to make about this, and I need to sort of close up now, but look, you know, area of interest, breaks it, down it goes, and you will find this and this agrees perfectly with every move. Here, perfect entry, and once again, look, even this little move here, area of interest, broken through it. That's a 200 or 300 point move there. So you couldn't make this up, and it keeps you out of bad trades as well. And this is the note I want to make finally. That's it. Scroll off and back to the afternoon. I was messing around watching the charts. It's easier to see on the bar chart. It reminded me what was going on. I was watching this because I did get back between phone calls from hospitals and doctors and things like that, waiting for a potential sell trade. Now, I did scalp a couple of these because I know what I'm doing here, 3CR and the RSI histo triggers. But what I found interesting, really interesting, and this is the whole point of this video actually, or partly point of this video, is that it stopped me getting into a short. I was around here, so this is actually, you know, we haven't missed any opportunities here because my phone wasn't on and this wasn't connected to the internet. So this is true data. These are right, that's right. There was nothing. This whole area didn't develop enough momentum. And that's the other interesting thing about this, is it is almost the most powerful indicator of price momentum, in other words, price movement volatility, that I can ever imagine finding. Look, point of interest, price has gone up when it broke it. Point of interest, price when it breaks through that has crashed. It just goes on and on. Point of interest, price breaks through it to the long side, up it goes. Now here you can see price has dropped off. The momentum to the downside has dropped off. That's up, an up angle, that's a down angle. So it would have to do something really seriously strong, in other words move to go down into this support area here, or demand area, and it didn't. Sorry, just one of the alerts. And it kept us out of a bad trade. So not only, you know, we've got the normal divergence, so this is looking really iffy, we have also got the lack of trigger to the downside. And then when it starts going up, and I actually took a trade here, you know categorically it's the buyers have taken over. And then you've even got a trend low, high, high, low, high, high. You've got an interesting area here. This is a 2B pattern as well. So I'm all over this like a rash, that long trade there. And that was when I went out and went to the supermarket. So it was going bonkers here, but it doesn't show on my chart, the phone I mean. So area of interest here, it broke through it, and look, it absolutely took off. But what's also interesting with this as well is this massive, massive drop. And this was another reason for taking the time to make this video, because we can see we've got divergence, you know, high highs making lower highs, nothing much interesting there. But the difference, this is why I've got the both this and this, the TMA slope and the RSI histo alert on this chart, because this one will often get you into a divergence move. In other words, it will give you an idea that you should be looking for shorts here, and this will often not. But excuse me, if this and this agree, you can almost bet your house on it. You don't, because obviously that's breaking your rules, money management rules, but you know what I mean. It's a very, very, very if these are both showing divergence and not just this one, it is like the holy grail of waiting for perfect looking trades. Here's divergence here, look, obvious. This is a perfect example. Divergence on the RSI histo, divergence on the TMA slope, lack of any alerts down here. Even a baby one like this little thing here down here would have been, and then it stops. Instead of making a racket, it just makes a few squeaks. That is a good reason to think, yep, the sellers in this instance have been overwhelmed, and look for the first opportunity to go long. And another interesting thing that I always keep an eye on is, you know, long run of red, and then it turns green. Ultra change of direction. You know, red, or below 000, whatever, turns green, boom. Look at the left of your charts, guys. Oh, you couldn't see this lot, sorry. Look at the left of your charts to lead, you know, oh, look what happened when this turned green. Up it went. Look what happened when this turned green again. Up it went. Look what happened after a run of grey and it turned green again. Up it went. So I wonder what will happen when this finally turns green. Oh, look for longs. Look left, guys. And this is why I have these indicators on the charts, because they simplify my job. Anything that simplifies my job is massively important. Hence, concentrating so much on this, because it makes life so easy. And that is the last point I'm going to make on this particular video, is if you aren't using MT4, it doesn't take a lifetime to learn, you know, heavy weekend messing around with it. Don't ask me to make videos about installing strategy testers and this, that and the other. They are all over the YouTube channel and various other video channels. So find those yourself, get it loaded up. If you use, and that's one more point, if you use, you're not familiar with this, I guarantee you FP markets or IC markets is what Onesie tests this thing on, and if it works for him with his default settings, then you have to get it working and the same way as he does, and then you know you're good to go. And if it doesn't work on these other free demo accounts that I mentioned, like Hugo's Way, they are iffy because of spreads and things. So why reinvent the wheel? Use what Onesie uses, and then if it doesn't work, you need to start asking questions about that. But I guarantee you will load either IC or FP and it will work fine, and then you start playing with the settings in order to get something that looks remotely like this. So it isn't my job to give you the settings. Sorry for the preach. It's your job to work out, all the settings have been given free. Your job to check if yours starts to look like this, i.e. the RSI histo starts to look like a break through the 3CR, and that looks right, and that looks right. And the 1Z EA agrees with a 2B reversal, break and bust up, and breaks of significant areas and so on and so forth. That's your job. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.